Okay, all right. So tonight, is Rosh Chodesh Av. So now it's the Brisa, in Masechus Tainus, lists them together. Keshem mishenichnas ador marbim besimcha, kach mishenichnas av mematim besimcha. The first mishenichnas ador marbim besimcha is mentioned together in the same Brisa and said Keshem, just like, right? Just like Mishnichas Adam Marbim said, Mishnichas Av Mematim B'Simcha. Now, so what's the Is it just a coincidence, or is there a connection? Right. So, the Sforim explain. When Haman threw the lots, and it came up on Adar, so he was happy. Right. It's the month that Moshe Rabbeinu died, but he didn't know it's the month that Moshe Rabbeinu was born. Pashtus, Haman's right. Because it goes by how it ended, right? It ultimately ended badly, right? Who cares? 120 years earlier was good. It goes by how it ends. Ended badly. We lost Moshe Rabbeinu that month, right? All right. So Sforim explained that. No, that's the whole v'nafochu. That all of a sudden you look at at the beginning as opposed to the way it rounded up. That's the v'nafochu, because really Adar was be'etzem before the story of Purim. It was a bad month for us. If there's such a thing as Am Yisrael, having Mazel, Adar was not a good month for us. Was not. With the koach of the tshuva that we did, right? That's part of an afochu. That all of a sudden you don't look at the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu died in that month. That's what happened later in history. You look at the fact that he was born in that month, right? That's part of an afochu. We flipped the Mazel of the month, and it's alluded to mefurish in the Megillah. Va'chodesh asher nefach lehem me'evel simcha, right? It says, me'evel simcha, umitzar liyomtiv. The month flipped. It's a mefurish pasuk. The month flipped. The koach of tshuva me'ava of Klai Mamish flipped the koach of the month from being a bad month to being a good month. So even though Lefiat Teva was a bad month, you flipped. Oh, so now what's with Av? So so this I heard from my Rebbe, Moshe Shapiro, right? One of the best Vertlach I've ever heard from him, and I've heard many. Right? Said like this, Kayadua, right, in Lashon HaKodesh, when you double the last letter, it implies smallness. Huh? Like, when you double the last letter, it implies smallness. Like, Katan is small, Katantan is very small. And he said, based on this, he explained that, El means strong, and that's why it's a term used for deity. Right? Okay. No, I'll pause. So as my Rebbe explained, so El means strength. That's why it's also a term used for deity. Elil, what we call Getchkas, we're making fun of it, little God, right? So based on that Yesod, Nisan is Chodesh HaAviv. Nisan, our big month of Chodesh HaGeula, right? It's Chodesh Aviv, right?
What does it mean,
Aviv, little Av. Little Av.
What does Aviv mean?
Aviv means spring, literally. But based on this Yesod, so Aviv means little Av. Meaning, Av Be'etzem was our best month. Our best month, right? But because of Chet HaMeraglim, we changed the mazel of the month. It's supposed to be our best month. That Nisan supposed to be little Av. Nisan, little Av. Because imagine if if Am Yisrael would have not listened to the fake news of the Meraglim, in that Tisha B'Av we would have gone into Eretz Yisrael. It would have been unbelievable. So that's what these 2 months have to do with each other, right? And this explains the halacha, right? Because why is it that you start being marbe b'simcha as soon as Adar comes in? Wait for Purim, which is the holiday. There's no din of Mishenichnas Nisan marbim b'simcha. Mishenichnas Tishrei marbim. You start the simcha when Pesach comes. You start the simcha, when Sukkot comes. No, because we're celebrating the mazel of the month because we made the mazel. That's why Mishenichnas Adar marbim b'simcha, because we changed the whole mazel of the month. We made the month what it is. That's a good month. We did that, so we start celebrating from the time the month comes in. Same is true by Av, Rahman al. It was meant to be the biggest month. That Nisan will be Aviv, little Av. By comparison, we made it a bad month, and therefore the fact that Av, you're not supposed to go to court, with a guy, it's a bad month. We made it that way, and that's why Misha Nichnas Av, Mimatim Besimcha, because we're the ones who made it a bad month, so we have to start being Mimayit Besimcha from the time it comes in, right? No, but that's the Indian of why Av is still destined to be our month of biggest Yom Tov. It's really going back to its natural greatness, right? Because the tikkunim that we make are permanent. The damage that we do is temporary, right? So we damaged Av pretty badly, right? But we believe that whatever we do wrong will be fixed. What's eternal is what we do right, and that's why Adar will always be a good month, even though naturally it was a bad month. So Adar will always be good, and Losi level Av will be good also, right? So with this, the Sfarim explain what this. We're doing a Siyum Beis Hashem on Sefer Yetzirah. Hopefully on Sunday Beis Hashem. We have to figure out how we're doing this. So the Sefer Yetzirah says about the month of Av, Himlich ois tes b'shmiya. What rains in the letter of month, shmiya, listening, hearing. What rains in the month of Av is the letter tes, but in hearing.
Tes ba'av.
Right. So Tzadok and other Svarim also, but Tzadok brings the Gemara in Baba Kama that says Haroah tes b'chalomo simin yofeh hulo. If you see the letter tes in a dream, so think about this before you go to sleep, right? If you see the letter tes, it's a good simin. Hov v'patach bo akasav l'toiva, because the first time the letter tes is in the Torah is by the word toiv. V'alokim esa or kitov. So, this tes represents it's the first time tes was even used, ever, was for the word toiv by V'alokim esa or kitov.
Why is
so
it
now,
brachos where the Slavic Gemara was a bracha?
Yeah, so for some reason, interestingly enough, it's a Gemara Baba Kama, interestingly enough. Kitzer, as far as I remember. So Reb Tzadok says an interesting word like this. It's not a coincidence. So the first time it's was by the word V'alokim esa or kitov. God so light was good. What does Rashi say right there on the spot from Chazal? That light that's good was too good. So what's supposed to say? That or was the Or Hagonus, the hidden light. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hid that light. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hid that light. It was too good. He didn't want the Rishayim to use it. So that's the Or Hagonus, right? That light, that's the good light. Oh, so the Or Hagonus, right? Which is the koach of Lasid Lovo, right? That's something we can't see anymore. We can only hear about it. Himlich ois tes b'shmiya, because the tes refers to the Or Hagonus that you can't see, but you could hear about it.
You want to see it.
We could hear about it, right? So meaning the Torah Shabbal Peh teaches us about it, but we can't see it. Losi Love will be able to see it. So now ois tes is the Or Hagonus, that's the Or of Av, but it's hidden. So of course we tell you, everything is going to be for the better, everything's going to work out, but you can only hear that, right? And the question is whether you believe it, right? Can't see it. And that's the secret, that all the tefillas that we dive in about the Geula Hashlema is all about Re'iyah. I want to just see it also. Like, V'sechazena einenu, b'shuvcha l'tzion brachim, ve'einenu sirena malchusecha, right? V'hareinu Hashem Elokeinu v'nechma recha, and I could go on and on. All the psukim and all the tefillos that talk about Los Lavos, like, right? We know HaKadosh was even the Melech, even now, even in Golus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one and only, and Eino Milvado. But that's something which I'll tell you about. I'll explain to you philosophically. We're not so going to see it. That's what's broken. What's broken about the world. What's broken about the world is that we can't see the emes. We only hear about it. So the deepest emes, the Or Hagonus is in the Chodesh Av. But that's the problem. It's Gonus. So just like here's the biggest Or, but here's also the biggest Geniza and the biggest Hester Ponim.
Black light.
Right? It goes together. The biggest Or goes with the biggest Hester Ponim that you need to hide the Or. Right? So now, because of our Averis, the Hester Ponim, the big Hester, to hide the super bright light, we need a super dark shield. Our Averis made the super dark shield the dominant koach of the month. It has to flip that the dominant koach of the month is the light that is being shielded. That's what needs to flip. That's v'naf foch.
So when
That needs to
goes
happen.
away,
So now it's an amazing thing. If you daven Nusach Sfard, so by the Shmon Esrei of Rosh Chodesh, you're going to daven tomorrow. Mamish tomorrow. The Kavanah you mechaven tomorrow. Right? You know that in the Sidurim of Nusach Sfard, it's brought out from the Arid, that's Tziruf Hashem. When you brought out Mekaresh Yisrael Rosh Chodeshim. So you're supposed to be mechaven,
possible.
right? A different permutation of Shem Havaya. Right? What is the permutation for the month of Av? Havaya. The way we say it.
Sidron.
Havaya, right? The way we say it, right? Why is it mutter to say Havaya and all the other tzirufim you're not allowed to say? Because Havaya has a profane meaning. It has a non-kodesh meaning. It means like kiddushin, right? Makish Havaya li'tziyah, right? So that's why it's mutter to say. So that's why
What does Havaya mean?
Havaya literally means kiddushin. So now here's the says Bnei Sosra points out an amazing again this duality.
So
The biggest Hester covers on the biggest or. The biggest richuk is a cover up for the biggest intimacy. You're allowed to say the word Havaya, right? Why? Because it has a profane meaning. What's its profane meaning? Kiddushin. Right? So this month, which the kedusha is so nistered, even the tziruf of the month, you're allowed to say the word Havaya, right? Because it has it has a profane meaning. So the shame is most nister. But what does Havaya mean? Kiddushin, Achdus. And that's the side that Tu B'Av, where a little bit of the kedusha of Av bleeds through, is a wedding day. Tu B'Av, Havaya.
When they come together.
Right?
The Gemara
That's
says
right.
7 things.
Right? And that's what we got to know,
What's the pasuk for the shame? This Havaya.
Okay. I was going to put out. Ooh, Dave. I was going to leave this out because I forgot. And he was maskir. It's not because it's Haskes Ushma Yisrael Hayom. Right? Haskes Ushma. Come in here. Host test b'shmir.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
So that's what, no, unbelievable. You're massive, unbelievable.
You were about to say it. I heard you saying it. It was coming out.
Right. Ask Shema Yisrael. Right. So that's what we got to know. Where's the biggest tsaros, right? The biggest tsaros are a shield for the biggest light. Right. Right. So you have to know.
Part of the night is before the brightest part of the day.
Right. The biggest Hester Ponim is coming as a shield for the brightest light, and that's why with every tzara, that God forbid if it could end badly, but also every tzara could lead into Mashiach. Right? It could be like that's right. Tzara to Ritzei. You could just flip. Right. That's right. Unbelievable. And Nega to Oneg, that's in Sefer Yetzirah. That's a Sefer Yetzirah. That the Sefer Yetzirah points out that Oneg and Nega are the same Oisius. It's flipped around. So every tzara. That's right. And that's a Sefer. You learned Sefer Yetzirah. Wow.
I heard it.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we have to know. We have to know that with the terrible things that are going on, with tshuva, the whole thing could be nishatech l'toiva, and where there's the biggest tzara is the biggest potential for toiva, and you suffer from the tzara by not actualizing the potential that was there.
Wow. So you read
it's an opportunity, and you pay and you suffer from a tzara by not unleashing the potential that was there, for wasting the potential that was there. Because every tzara, of breakdown, there's like Black Lives Matter, Yimach Shema say burn it down, right? Where you burn it down and bring the order of Melech HaMashiach, right? Right? It doesn't be burn it down the rock, be burn it down the toe.
The phoenix rising from the ashes.
Right? That's right, and that's the side of what what Chazal say. We don't say that on the day that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, Mashiach was born.
Yeah.
I mean, because in every setback is munach the tikkun, and you will suffer from the setback if you don't grab onto the opportunity to unleash The potential that's hidden
How do
there.
you do that? What's the Eitzah?
No, so it's Eitzah is first and foremost is that to use every tzara as a wake-up call to do tshuva. Instead of getting depressed and climbing into your shell, right? It's hafuch. Recognize that it's a calling and it's a challenge. And then you unlock the potential that's hidden behind it. Because that's the cloud. Meruba mida tova midas peronius. If there's peronius, then you should know that there's tova that's exponentially much greater than it, hiding right behind it. On the flip side, but you got to get to the flip side. You got to get there. You got to flip the situation. You got to flip the nega to oneg, right? You got to flip, the tzara to ritzeh, right?
How do you do that?
And right. It's tshuva, because tshuva is mahapich avonosav nasis lo keschuyos.
You're saying practically, you have to be aware. You have to believe it. You have to feel it. No, you have to
That's
feel
right.
it. You have to feel that when something bad happens, it's not bad. It's an opportunity to go through this portal to get the good.
It's an opportunity for change. Now, if you don't change l'toiv, it'll be change l'ra. But when the tzara hits, it's betzem change, and that's what tshuva is, change. You're supposed to take it as a wake-up call to change, and then it'll be all l'toiva. And with this, we'll end off with the goyin, right? The goyin on Mevorach Hashem. I once asked this Marosh Shiva, and he said one teretz. Asked, why is the bracha for Parnasa Mevorach Hashanim? She Mevorach. Oh gosh.
Sorry.
Right.
Breathe.
Right.
Expand the lungs.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like shooting.
Right.
It scares me.
Why is it?
I'm really sorry.
Why is it Mevorach Hashanim? It should be Mevorach HaKesef. Right? Bless my money, man. Bless my heroes. Right? So Marosh Shiva Zechron V'Rach, he said one shot. He says because the way the Rebbe Shem distributes bracha is over time. Right? Time brings. Right? So
Bracha brecha.
he distributes it over time. But maybe he meant this also. But I saw years later. I saw in the Goyim. He says interesting word. Shonim is miloshin shoneh. Different. Shona miloshin shoneh. Right? So it says the going like this. Right? No way whatever you have today will be the same tomorrow. Because life is in flux. It's always shoneh. It's always different. Now, right? It's always different. Time is in flux, and just like time's in flux, your money's not just going to stay in the bank. It's just not going to stay. Things are going to move. Things are going to be mishtaneh. But says the Gon, all right, that there's going to be shinui is inevitable, right? To pray to God that the universe should be static, forget about it, because that's not what He wants. Because He wants destiny to move. Movement is inevitable. Change is inevitable. Aber what? Mevorach Hashanim. It's changing, so let it change for the better. There you go. Mevorach Hashanim. All right, Rebbe, things got to change. So I said, bless up. That's it. Bless up. Shinui l'tova. Shinui l'bracha. Right. So right now, we're at a watershed moment more than ever. With COVID and BLM and all the social unrest. Things are in flux, right? And it's mamish not a coincidence that because we didn't do tshuva before Shavuos, so we went bekeri. We didn't do tshuva. So now it's with us during the 3 weeks, but at least maybe now we get the message, right? Because just like every change could be a change for the better. Change is initially bad because you focus on what you lost, but the results could be better. That's what it means. On Tisha B'Av, the Beis Mikdash will be rebuilt, right? You won't be the focus on the Beis Mikdash we lost, but the Beis Mikdash we're going to get instead, which will be the permanent one that can never be destroyed again. And that's ourselves that if we do Tshuva and we wake up, all the flux, all the shinui that's all it's going to be Mevorach Hashanim, and Chodesh Av will once again be what it was meant to be, the biggest and best month of the Jewish people. L'chaim.